Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode from your best buddy. Oh man, that's great. Start it again. We can't have that on our recording. Anyways, we're back with our old friend Ash and Bash, working to level 50, doing another dungeon. We're here with another swashbuckling adventure. Woo! Wee! Whoa! 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 Okay, what am I doing? Oh, I'm tanking. Well, I mean, obviously I'm tanking. But, where's my boy? Aren't I supposed to have, like, a quest giver around here? Magma Shell, baby. What's Magma Shell? Whoa. Oh, that's my ult. Ah, jeez. Alright, we're getting in the groove of things. We got it. Don't you worry. We're getting in it. Oh, he's up here. Oh, I gotta get to him. Shoot! Get on y'all ships! Get on y'all ships! I don't need y'all messing with me, getting in my face. I don't need y'all here. I don't need none of this. I'm ready to get the heck out of town. Maybe I'll take one of y'all ships and just sail away. Not have to worry about the worries of the landlubber.
You there?
Shifty Tom, let's go. Hey, oh, yep. All right, great, sick. That's something that always irked me in this game. That ship's all right size, but they're like really big galleons and stuff. Those ships, they're just so unproportional. I don't know what it is about them. I think they're too wide, and the masts are too tall. I think that's my problem with it, really. But it's hard to say for sure, because in real life, like galleons, ships, brigs, maybe not brigs, but old-timey ships, they could get quite big, especially like the Spanish ones. Spanish Armada type ships back in like the I don't know, like the early 1700s, late 1600s. Some of those ships got quite substantial. It's impressive how big they could be, but I still think the proportions of the ships in this game are just wrong. I think the masts are too tall and the ships are too wide and stuff. In most cases, like that small one I looked at earlier, that one's fine. That's a fine-looking little sloop or something like that, you know, but the other ones are a little much. What's going on? By the way, where's our team at? Is this going to be a long episode? It's starting to look like it. All right, we're gonna talk about this here. Gotta be hip. Where everyone at? We're hip, we're with it. What are they doing? What are they doing? Alright, what the heck is this? Oh! Made it. Is this another way to go? What's going on? Oh my gosh. But speaking about ships, you know, people see, I guess in old-timey times, when ships used sails, I guess, ships, not boats, because there's still sailboats, but not very many yachts nowadays use sail. But anyways, aside from the point, a lot of people see like a giant sailboat, a sail ship, a masted ship. Oh man. And they imagine the crew to be like a massive crew. Like there must be a massive crew that worked this boat, you know? And that's not necessarily true. So I'm going to use this very specific ship that existed and a replica of it does still exist. In Michigan, there's a ship known as the Madeline or the Maidlane, something like that. It's a ship in Michigan. And I think it might be the official ship of Michigan, but I'm not sure about that. But anyways, there's a ship called the Maitland. And it's got... Oh, gosh. Let's see if I can remember it. I'll put a picture up of it if I can find one that's not going to... You know what? I'm not going to put a picture up because there's probably not one that's for use. So, just imagine this. It's a sloop, I believe. It's not anything big. It's like a small type ship, but it's got 2 masts, I think. And it's a good size. And when you look at it, you're like, oh, this must have had a crew of like 10, right? This must have had a crew of 10 people to run this whole ship. But I've talked with some of the people that are part of the like the volunteer program that they use to operate it and sail it around and stuff. And they said historically it was a trade ship. It carried goods and stuff from point A to point B across the Great Lakes. And it only had a crew of 3 on a good day. You know, that ship could be easily managed with just 2 people. You know, somebody to drive and then somebody to work the rigging. And that's all they needed. Which is wild, because there's a lot of stuff that you need to do on a boat like that. You know, you need to do the rigging, you need to... Well, I guess that's most of what you need to do, honestly, is the rigging. But it's crazy, because the ship... We got somebody we gotta finish off here. Oh my god, here he comes. He's figuring it out. Oh my gosh, get him out of here. Get him out of here! I'm talking about ships. So yeah, I had a crew of 3 people. At most, but it could be operated well enough with a crew of 2. And it makes me wonder, because the Great Lakes they're big, but they're not that big, you know? Like, blah, blah, blah. You can get from point A to point B within, probably on that boat itself, within 2 days. Like, the farthest you would have to go is probably 2.5 days away. And the farthest you would have to go would probably be like the very far west end of Lake Superior to the very southern end, or the very far east end of Lake Erie. And if you wanted to go even farther, all the way to Lake Ontario. But I don't know if the locks existed back then, the Ontario locks, whatever they're called, or the Sioux locks. What did this person just do? He wants to kick somebody. He wants to kick Colin, maybe, hopefully. So if the locks didn't exist then the farthest you could go on that ship would be from the southern point of Lake Michigan to the very eastern point of Lake Erie. You would have to go all the way around the state of Michigan, and then all the way through the Rose River. What's the river next to Detroit called? I don't know. But you would have to go down that, and I don't think that's man-made. I think some of it's been man-made or influenced by man, but I think that river is natural. And then all the way down to Lake Erie, and then all the way to the eastern side of that. So I don't think that would take more than 2 days to do. Or, yeah, more than 2 days. So 48 hours, you would be able to do that. So on a small ship like the Madeline, what do you have to do? You have to work the sails, you have to get a good wind, and you have to work the you know what? Honestly, actually, now that I think about it, it probably would take about 5 days. Because it's a sailboat, and you have to have good wind to work a sailboat. So my guess is at the most it would take 5 days to go from all the way around the state, down the river next to Detroit, and then into the Lake Erie, and doing all that fun stuff. Because the way you would operate it is right. You would have to like bring the sails down to a point that's appropriate for the amount of wind you have, right? And you don't always have a favorable wind. Like if you want to go north and you have a wind that's going like from east to west, that's not very favorable. So you can't exactly just go in a straight line, you know? You'd have to kind of go back and forth. You'd have to tack, I believe it's called. You'd tack. So if you have a wind going from east to west, you would have to go to the west a little bit. And then once you got some good speed going like west or northwest, Then you would have... What? Who's he talking to? Is he talking to me?
Now, let me see that thing.
Hold
Thank
on.
you.
Let's figure this out.
Here we go.
Whatever.
Well, this should do it.
Somebody's mad.
Finally, this nightmare will come to an end. Are you insane?
Colin.
Shippy?
Colin's not doing
You'll kill
anything.
us all.
All right, we're going to
That's
kick
the
Colin.
point, friend.
Whoops.
This is no way for a man to live.
We're going to kick Colin. No, I don't. Just AFK's mid-fight every time. Colin's not even... Is Colin even in the fight here? Who is that? Is that Colin up there? If that's Colin, that's Dweller in the Woods. I don't know. Maybe we're not going to kick Colin. But what I was saying, tacking, you know, you would essentially be... Excuse me. You would essentially be... stuck going like at a northwestern. That's not what tacking is, though, technically. But you would be stuck going northwest rather than just straight north, which is going to take time. So, you know what? Maybe I don't know what the heck I'm talking about as far as sailboats are concerned. But it is interesting. All right, let's go with something I know a little more about. Like, so, what about a modern ship? You know, like a big freighter, like a let's say 1,000-foot freighter, okay? How big a crew do you think a 1,000-foot freighter needs? How big? How big would you say? 30? 40 people? Let's do the math, all right? Let's figure it out, because I'm not sure off the top of my head the exact number. So, generally, on those types of boats, starting with the deck, you would have the bosun, spelled like a boat swain for some odd reason. Not sure how that works, but anyways. So you'd have the bosun, and then you'd have 2 able-bodied seamen and then 2 ordinary seamen. This is from my personal experience, so it could be different on different ships. And then... so what? Well, that's 5 people already. All right. So that's 5 people. Now you have the officers and their fellows that they have with them. So there's 3 officers and then the captain. First mate, second mate, third mate. Each mate has their own wheelsman or driver. So that's, if you go with the officers, that is 2, 4, 6, 7. So 5 and then 7. So we have a crew of 12 already, right? Now, we have the steward's department, which is the cook, and then the assistant, essentially. And that's 2 more, so 14. All right. Now we have the engineering department, and that's where I'm a little iffy on on where things go and stuff like that, right? So, engineering department, you have a conveyorman, if it's an auto unloader, and then a wiper, maybe. Not every ship I've been on has had a wiper. But anyways, a wiper maybe. So that's 2 more, so 16. And then you would have QMed, like a qualified engineer. I'm not sure how many QMeds there are. Maybe 2, maybe 3. Let's say 3. Let's say 3. So that's a crew of 19. And then you have the chief engineer. So that's 20. And then first, second, and third engineer, just like a first, second, and third mate. So 23. Crew of 23. A 1,000-foot ship could have a crew of 23. Is that what you would have initially thought? Like, imagine a 1,000-foot ship. That's 1/7 of a mile long. Just that ship alone, right? Maybe 1/8. Is a mile closer to 8,000 feet than 7,000? It's like 7,500 and something like that. But anyways, like, would you imagine that's how big a crew of a ship like that? Maybe you would think less, because I remember one time I was having a conversation with somebody, and we saw a ship going by in Michigan. We were like next to the Great Lakes, and they pointed at the ship as like, "Hey," and they said like in a knowing way, they said, "You know, a ship like that only has a crew of 12 people, right?" And I'm like, "All right, sure," because I'm stupid and I don't know anything about anything, so I'm just going to take your word for it. But that's not necessarily true. Because You know, the crews are substantial because there's a lot of stuff you need to do on a boat like that. A lot of things can go wrong, and everybody on that boat is working towards trying to keep anything from going wrong. So there's a lot of, maintenance pretty much. Anyways, but I don't think sailboats ever got to the 1,000 feet long range. But think of the biggest sailboat. They've got so huge sailboats would have had to have a humongous crew, right? Because they don't have heavy machinery like nowadays. It would have to be, you'd have to have people that literally move it by hand, right? If they can move it by hand. But there are circumstances where you would have dockside, like cranes, because cranes are an old invention. They probably had cranes in Roman times, like ancient Roman times, because I know there's definitely medieval manuscripts that have pictures of like a giant wheel that somebody goes inside and they walk along the wheel, and that's what powers the crane, and they can pick up heavy stuff with that based off of the power of pulleys, right? Because pulleys are very useful things. There's pulleys all over sailboats. But dockside, back then there would be, machines similar to that, where you just have a giant wheel that you have to essentially crank somehow, whether it be foot power, steam power, or just a bunch of people pulling on a rope or something like that, But what I mean by the reason I bring that up is because you need to have those people that pull it on the rope. So, you by sheer necessity, you would have to have a crew of a lot of people. And it also depends on the job of the ship, right? So, let's say a trade ship. You just need a cargo hatch and people to get the cargo in and out. So most of those people might work on the dock, working like the cranes and stuff, picking up the sacks and the boxes and everything, and then lowering them into the cargo holds. But what about a ship like let's go Moby Dick, all right? Whalers, a whaling vessel. I know there's modern day whaling. I'm not sure how they do it now. But back then, let's say like Moby Dick times, which is like early 1800s, maybe mid 1800s, I'm not sure. When was Herman Melville alive? I don't even, whatever. But anyways, so a whaling vessel, so you're just essentially sailing and you're going along the whaling routes that are known. The whaling routes that the whales go along, and so you sail along those routes until somebody spots a whale. They see a blowhole. There she blows, right? So what you do then is you sail kind of close with your boat, but you can't capture a whale from the sailboat, right? You can't do it. At least they couldn't do it back then. That's not how they did it. What they did then was they got a crew on a smaller boat, essentially like a long, narrow rowboat that, I don't know, like 12 people would get in or something like that. And they would row out to the whale as close as they could, and then some dude would work the harpoon. The harpoonsman, I suppose, because sailors have very original names when it comes to their jobs. It's literally just the job they do plus man at the end of it, like, who drives the boat? Oh, it's the person who works the helm. Let's call him the helmsman. It's just like that. Who throws the harpoon? Oh, it's the harpoonsman. Yeah, okay. Who rows the boat? Oh, that's the rowman. I think they're actually called just rowers, but you get the point. It's silly. But anyways, you have to go on this small rinky-dinky boat with a bunch of rope on it and with some harpoons on it, and some dude stands in the front of that boat and throws a harpoon at the whale. Oh, did I miss a quest here? Speak with Shifty Tom. Shifty Tom. Oh no, do I have to talk to him back here? Did I ruin this quest already? Did I forget to do something? Whatever, that's alright. I'm not too worried about it. I'll just abandon the quest and retry. But anyway, so you have the guy in the front of the boat. This boss is actually quite hard because he summons skeletons that just pelt you, and people don't usually kill those skeletons. But anyways, you have the harpoonsman at the front of that little boat with a. I've seen pictures and they're quite fragile looking, the boats. So you throw a harpoon at the whale. If you hit the whale, then you have to like tie off the rope so that the whale. I'm lagging. Uh-oh. So that the whale just panics. Essentially, you're causing the whale to panic. And when a whale panics, its first instinct is not usually to swim down, which is why whalers could do this. Well, this is why it worked the way that whalers got whales. This is why it worked. Because when whales panic, they don't swim down, they swim laterally. They just go in the direction they were originally facing. So, if you get a harpoon in the whale starts to panic. And then the whale doesn't dive, it just keeps swimming straight. Also, if a whale did try to dive, it'd be very difficult because the boat is floating. And a floating boat, no, even a small one, is very difficult to like just straight up take under the water because that's a lot of force that you need to overcome. And the whales that whalers go after aren't generally the largest type of whale either, like sperm whales and right whales and stuff like that. They're not the largest. But anyways, the whale goes straight. And then, once the whale tires off, they literally just pull themselves right up to the whale, either on the rope or with their sail or their oars, and then they just stab it to death with a bunch of like with harpoons. that's how whaling was done back then, you know. And so like that alone, you know, that requires a crew of a lot of people. You know what I mean? And then you have to work the crane that gets the whale from the water into the deck off of the actual sailboat, and that's even a whole ordeal. So the crews of whalers must have had to been at least 30, maybe 25. I'm not sure though. Don't take my word for it. Everything I say is like take with a grain of salt. But anyways, that's gonna do it for this episode. Give me my skill point. Anyway, if you like this episode, if it was very informative for you, you know, if you learned something, let me know in the comments down below. And if you liked it, why don't you hit the like for me? And if you haven't already subscribed, why don't you do that too? In the meantime, man, this guy's just talking, huh? In the meantime, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!